Good morning and welcome to Cooley Outdoors. I'm your host, Brandon Scott. Today is going to be another solo adventure. I am taking a poke at a day hike with a random weekday off after working a heavy weekend. And today's adventure is going to be up the Dingford Creek Trail. I couldn't remember if it was just Dingford Trail or Dingford Creek Trail. But I'm at the Dingford Trailhead parking lot again. I've been here before a couple of times going up the... Well, actually... I've only been here once with the camera running, going up the Dutch Miller Gap Trail, which is on this north side of the river, of the Middle Fork Snoqualmie River here. I've also come up to the bridge down that way on the south side of the river, or to cross the river, a couple weeks ago, going up the Middle Fork, lower portion Middle Fork Snoqualmie Trail, and now I'm going up the Dingford Creek Trail for the first time, going up to Myrtle Lake, and that's supposed to be about a 11-mile round trip and something like 2,300 foot elevation gain one way to a subalpine lake. It is cloudy, a bit misty and foggy in the hills here, but as the day goes on, it's supposed to get nicer and eventually be a completely clear day. We'll see if that happens this deep in the mountains, but yeah, let's go on a hike and go check it out. Alrighty, this is a hike up the I-90 corridor technically, so theoretically a bunch of books should have this hike in it, and they do. First up, Beyond Mount Si by John Zilli. Would love it if the second edition of this book were to come out. Myrtle Lake, hike 16, 11 mile out and back. Cumulative gain 2,800 feet. Ooh, okay. So yeah, we're down here at the Dingford Trailhead. Gonna go up the Dingford Trail, and there is a break in the trail where you can go to Myrtle Lake one direction or go up to Hester Lake. You'll find that in most of these books, that they kind of lump Myrtle and Hester Lake together because you start at the same point, and for most of the trail you're heading the same direction. So there's that in that one. 100 hikes in Washington's Alpine Lakes. Hike number 94, Myrtle Lake, Hester Lake. Combined them together. Myrtle Lake's 11 miles. Hester Lake's 12 miles. This one says Myrtle Lake's 2,400 feet and Hester's 2,500 versus 2,800. Again, for the first 3 miles, you're hiking on the same trail, and then you split and go one to one direction and one to the other direction. And lastly, 55 hikes around Snoqualmie Pass by Harvey Manning and Ira Spring, just like the 100 hike series. Hike 20, Myrtle Lake, Hester Lake. Myrtle Lake, 14. This one says Myrtle Lake, 14 miles. And Hester Lake, 12 miles. And, yep, 2,400 feet and 2,500 feet. So, oh, yeah, let's show the map. So, Middle Fork Campground is here. Middle Fork Snoqualmie River, Pratt River Trail, Snoqualmie Lake Trail. Driven up this dirt road, which is going to be difficult for passenger vehicles, but 4x4 vehicles should have no problem. It's just a little rough and tumble. Parked here at the Dingford Trailhead. I've gone that way, but today we're going up the Dingford Creek Trail, and the Dingford Creek Trail continues on to Myrtle Lake, and then after 3 miles you get to Hester Lake Trail, but we're going that direction today, and some other day we'll go that direction to Hester Lake. Let's try that again. Better. So, as with the road coming up here, it's kind of rough and tumble. As with the road coming up here, it's kind of rough and tumble. This trail is, especially to Hester Lake, is not frequently maintained, and it is rough and tumble and not exactly a easy peasy beginner trail. But that's what's going to make it more exciting. Is let's go take a less used trail, and plus less used on a weekday. Hopefully, I'm going to be the only person up there. That's the exciting part, is having a lake all to myself. Nice little picnic table for the trailhead. Dingford Creek Trail. Like I said, it's nice and drippy this morning, but that's supposed to go away as the day goes on. Okay. So they want to know. I'll have to take a picture of that when I get back. There. Pretty, 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 pretty. Hiya! Up the trail we go. So this first section of trail, this first mile or so, is supposed to be a decently steep set of switchbacks to get up above the Dingford Gorge, which you may remember from seeing, if you saw the Dingford Falls video from when I went up the lower portion of the Dutch Miller Gap Trail a couple weeks ago. Probably was more than a month ago now. I'll put that there. There's a waterfall, and the waterfall continues up more than what I got a video of. And of course, when there's falling water, that means you've got exposed rock and steepness, and if you want to get above it, you have to climb above it. Usually means some pretty steep trail. So first mile or so will be that, and then eventually it's like a mile and a half or so, mile and a half, 2 miles maybe, we'll cross Pumpkin Seed Creek, and there's supposed to be a trailside waterfall, Pumpkin Seed Falls. Supposed to be absolutely adorable. Ooh, foggy goodness. Yeah. That's the way I like it. So whether or not I do Pumpkin Seed Falls long exposure on the way up or the way down, I'll have to decide. And then the trail intersection, and there's supposed to be a couple of long traversing switchbacks from the trail intersection up to Myrtle Lake. But I can already tell this is going to be a more wild trail than the other trails in the vicinity. You may remember that the Middle Fork Trail was nice and wide and flat and easy to walk. The Dutch Miller Gap Trail used to be a road, and it's quite wide and flat and easy to traverse. This ain't gonna be. This is gonna be an exciting trail to do. And Myrtle is supposed to be the quote-unquote easier of the two lakes to get to, so I figured I could knock that out in a day by myself, and then at some later date I'll bring Nash up and we'll go to Hester Lake. Hey. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Yeah, who knows if this fog's even gonna burn off, but this is pretty. We start pretty low in elevation, just a hair above 1,400 feet back at Rex, and we're eventually going to end up at almost 4,000 feet. So we've got a lot of up to cover in 5.5 miles. It's about 500 feet a mile, which is a pretty good moderate pace. Finally done with the switchbacks, just past the wilderness boundary sign, and still froggy as heck. Dingford Creek is still noisy as heck. I'm sure there's half a dozen good sized drops down there, but with how difficult those switchbacks are, even, there's no way any sane person is getting down there. Maybe a professional canyoneer person would, but I ain't. So now we're gonna cruise along. Supposed to climb decently well, but eventually flatten out, especially once we get to get to and past Pumpkin Seed Falls. Now, why is it called Pumpkin Seed Falls? Well, because it comes out of Pumpkin Seed Lake. And I'm assuming it's called Pumpkin Seed Lake because it's small and it looks like a pumpkin seed on the map. And because it's a really cute and unique name, so why not? There's also supposed to be a handful of quote-unquote exciting side stream crossings along this trail between Pumpkin Seed and the lakes. And I use the term exciting because they can be supposedly dicey in the early season during high water. So we'll see how those go. Froggy, 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 froggy. But I can see the sun is trying to poke through. And every once in a while I can see my shadow on the ground. So the sun is winning. It's just gonna take its time up here in the mountains. I'm sure it's probably already clearing up quite well down in the low country. Lots of pretty flowers, lots of pretty moss. Okay, it looks like we are coming into some sort of clearing. Whether or not this is going to be a blowdown, avalanche chute, or pumpkin seed, hopefully, we shall see. Oh, it is going to be pumpkin seed. It's just a tiny little ribbon of water. Oh man, that's pretty. That's pretty. Absolutely gorgeous. Ain't gonna pick that up on the camera, on the phone camera initially. But oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh goodness. The trail is trying to cleave off here, but look, it's Snoqualmie batholith. Look at how pretty it is. I'm telling you, it's one of the prettiest rocks you'll ever see. It's this Snoqualmie batholith stuff. Let's go see the waterfall. Oh, this is absolutely angelic. But I mean, it's a little water now, but you can see how big this ravine, and this has got to be angry every once in a while. Oh goodness gracious. Goodness. That is pretty. So yeah, there's going to be a long exposure of this waterfall right there. I'll just have to scope out where I want to do it from. Oh man. Oh man. Wow. Ain't that just a pretty thing? Huh. I bet there's a good vantage point up here back along this trail a little ways. I come back up this direction. Where can I get the best footage? Probably going to be in here somewhere, I would think. That's pretty. So yeah, somewhere along here and somewhere. That's pretty. That is pretty. And now, if my map ain't lying to me, this valley should open up a bit for the next 1.5 miles or so to the trail intersection and be a flat, quick zoom, I believe. And then we got our 2.5 mile up traverse to the lake. So that's what happens when you start getting up in the mountains onto some lesser maintained trails. You get into some of these open areas and it's brush taller than you. Got deer fern, sword fern, salmon berries, and the much hated devil's club taller than me in here. Yeah. Kind of sucks, especially since it got wet last night and all this brush is still very wet. And I'm not wearing rain pants, and I'm just wearing my thin summer hiking pants. So all that water is immediately soaking in and soaking through. So that was a bit of a mistake on my part. Some bleeding hearts still. But hey, shoulda, woulda, coulda, didn't. No for next time. Oops, oh well. Lots of pretty flowers. Lots and lots and lots of pretty flowers. So I believe on the other side of this quite large cedar tree is Goat Creek. And I hope it's not running down the trail. Nope. This is still going to be a bit of an exciting crossing. Those rotten logs do not look very safe. But neither do those rocks. I think I'm gonna go with the rocks. I feel much better about using rocks than I do logs. Now where do I go? How slippery is that son of a bitch? Let's find out. Oh, that's gonna get me soaked. If I go here and there and then across. Oh yeah, that got my foot wet. These shoes are completely not waterproof anymore. That's something I'll need to remedy here in the near future, is re-waterproofing these shoes. That sucked. Oh, they're totally not waterproof. Not at all whatsoever. Nail parts did. Put sticks across. Like the sticks are going to help. Half the time the sticks are worse. Most of the time the sticks are worse. I'd rather cross on rock than sticks. Unless the stick happens to be a flat bridge, I don't want to cross it. I'd rather use the logs, or rather use the rocks. That was Goat Creek. Salmon berries blooming, thimbleberries blooming. Oh, so pretty. Ta-da! After 3 miles, we have reached the Trail Junction. To my left is a Myrtle Lake, 2.5 miles, and to the right would be Hester Lake, 3 miles. We are going to continue to the Myrtle Lake. Yeah. Oops, spin that around. I don't want that facing me. Go click. Don't know if you can hear that or not. There's a bird of some sort up here. Ah, dang, he stopped. Crap. Not that. There's a meep sound. There was something there. An owl maybe, and I think I saw where it took off to. That. I want to know what that is. There it goes. It is an owl. Cool. I hope the camera got that. thought I heard one further back down by the trail intersection. And that just, oh God, confirms it. It was an owl. But dang it, it flew far enough away from the trail where I don't think I'll get to see it again. I hope the camera got that. It's about half a second and clear shot. But he or she has incredible hearing, so it knew I was coming. I wish it wasn't so bashful. I could get another shot of it. Dang it. Dang it. But I did hear, oh, damn it. But I did hear another one down by the trail intersection. Poop. Oh well. That had to have been an owl. It flew. I wonder if there's a nest in here somewhere. Hearing two of them like that. Such a close proximity to each other. I wonder if there's not a nest. Oh, fly for me one more time. He's probably gone deeper into the woods away from the trail. Poopy. Oh well. Hopefully the camera picked that up. Well, you can hear the creek, but these occasional muddy sections is what's seems to be defining this upper portion of trail. And finding spots where you can walk through or around them. I think there's another owl. Nope, that's blue jay. Finding spots where you can walk around or through them is the name of the game here. So if you don't like doing the mud shimmy, and I advise you to wait until later summer when this dries out. But this is a lot of Cascade trails, especially the ones that aren't the top 5 most popular trails in the I-90 corridor and blah blah blah, ones that aren't maintained every 4 days. That's just what makes them more exciting. There's a very talkative family of blue jays over here. Over what, I have no idea. But yes, we've gotten higher in elevation. We're about 3,000 feet now, and stuff's changed. The trees have changed. We're getting more and more of these, I think, Alaska yellow cedars. Some spruces are showing up. The ground vegetation has changed. I can smell my bug spray I put on. I saw a glimpse of Dingford Creek proper over there. First time in probably more than 2 miles I have gotten a glimpse of it. For a while there, we were so far away I couldn't even hear the thing. That's pretty. That is very pretty. Raise this up. Deal with it, YouTube. You get a scene here on my phone every once in a while. I'll take pictures. Just deal with it. Water and trail. No surprise there. It sounds like I got quite the boisterous creek crossing. It is a boisterous. Oh, I wonder if this is the creek that drains those lakes. It is quite boisterous, but it is very rocky. It appears. Oh, that is a massive cedar tree there too. Well, this is quite pretty. Let's check the map real quick, see if I'm at where I think I am. Yeah, I'm thinking this is the creek. Yep, that drains Minu, Merlin, and Lefay Lakes. Doesn't have a name on the map, but it is big enough to be drawn on the map. So I believe I have gone a mile and a half. Got a mile left to go or so. And I'm at 3,200. I'm going to end up at 3,800. So I've got 600 feet-ish to go in this last mile. Ooh, this is an exciting creek crossing. I'll take this over swamp. That I will. I might set up a long exposure right here on the way back too. Plant it there looking that way. Yeah, that's long exposure worthy. Figure out what the name of the creek is, but this is quite pretty. So yeah, there'll be a long exposure right here. Yes, I would much prefer rocky creek crossings over walking through this swamp. Because I know I can stand on rocks. I know for a fact I can stand on rocks. And as long as they don't wiggle out from under me, ow, I'm just fine. The swamp, you have no idea until you hop in. Yet another one? It's over there. Dry side chasm here. One last section. You get through crossings. Oh, this is equally pretty in itself. This is quite pretty. Oh yeah, it's pretty. Click. Of course, taking a picture of it does it zero justice. Might not even do it the best justice even on 4K video. But trust me, in person it is quite pretty. Alrighty, and from looking at the map, it looks like we do is a couple of zigzags at the base of a cliffy section, and then a nice traverse to the lake. And I think that last traverse to the lake is going to be brushy and wet, if I remember correctly. I'm hoping not, but I'm assuming it will be. Which means when I get to the lake, I'll be taking my boots off and trying to dry some stuff out. Hi-yah! I believe that large break in the trees off to my left shoulder is going to be the lake. Because down there, it's lower than me, and I can hear the creek. So I think momentarily we will be arriving. Oh, that has to be a lake there. There ain't no trees over there. There ain't no trees, there ain't no hills, there ain't no nothing. That has to be a lake off to my 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. But I am wet from the, pretty much from the belly button down. Everything except for my core of my chest is at least a little wet. Should have wore rain pants. Oh well, lesson learned for next time. And lesson for all you watching. If you're gonna go out and get into the mountainous country, pack rain pants in case it's a wet, dewy morning. Because you get up in elevation, you start losing trees, and you gain brush along the trail, and it's all gonna be soaked. This has to be, oh yeah. Oh yeah, here is lake. Lake is here. There's a campsite there. I don't want no dang campsite. I want to hang out at the lake shore. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Find me a spot to hang out. It is 12:30. Took me just a hair over 3 hours, call it 3 hours 15 to make it to the lake. And the source of Dingford Creek, quite peaceful. That's beautiful. See, this is what I usually fish in, is creeks that look like this. Nice and flat. But let's go forward to the creek at the outlet mouth of the lake. Wonder if that's somebody camping over there. And let's go find a spot to hang out lakeside. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. See, that's all swampy grossness over there. We're gonna go further along this way, see if we can't find ourselves a better spot to hang out. Ooh, that's kind of a big step on the little rock there. That extra couple inches sometimes is all you need. Giggity. Oh, man, this would be pretty. Ooh, heather flowering. There's another campsite there. Somebody's inflation device. People just can't pick the trash up. Let's go find me a spot to hang out along the lake. I don't want to hang out this shallow, super swampy side. Let's go up along this a ways. Go find me some spot in the middle. And I did bring my fishing pole too. I have no idea if there's fish in this lake or not. I'm assuming there's going to be. Most of these lakes do. Whether or not they were native or whether they were stocked by the Forest Service in the last 100 years. But it seems like every lake I've gone to, I've seen fish swimming by, and I have neglected to bring my pole. So I decided to bring my pole. Let's go find me a spot along the lake. So, this stump here and that rock there is where I've sat for like the last 2 hours and shooting a long exposure looking that way. I will... Chapstick doesn't make good sound. There we go. I will put that, the long exposure there is looking that way. The sun has decided to start playing pokey pokey pokey, poke out and chasey chasey in the last half an hour. So... I would like to hang out here more and see if the sun fully comes out, but that is a case of too little, too late. It is 2:30 and time for me to mosey on back down the trail. That was a weird sound. Of course, the weather is improving and the bugs are coming out. I do have bug spray on me. I used it quite a few times. You'll probably be able to hear it in the long exposure. But I'm going to have to look up and see what those flowers are. These little yellow, these little white flowers are, this is the yew, I believe, but these guys, I have no idea what they are. I took pictures of them, but I want to know what this other little ground cover plant is. I believe the white flowers are the yew. It looks like it, but oh, let's not fumble the phone. Picture of flower, yes. When I was young, quite young, as in early teens, I did not understand why people want to stop and take pictures of the flowers. Because, you know, young, restless, dumb. But now, I mean, I'm still young. I'm only 26. Going on 27 in November. But I much more appreciate why people stop and look at the flowers. Not only because they're gorgeous, But I mean, it's just peaceful. Yada, yada, yada. Lots of Alaska yellow cedars. Screw it. I'll let this run some now that I'm going downhill, so you can see what the brushy conditions are like and just how green it is. For any of you who's living in the Midwest, South, East slope of the Rocky Mountains, you know, where it's all hot and dry, or, you know, anywhere else in the world, the desert, semi-arid Pacific Northwest, it's almost always wet. Ooh, I can actually see down in the main Snoqualmie River Valley now. The fog's lifted enough. But let's see here. So this is one of our species of huckleberry plant. Still same huckleberry. Most of this is huckleberry. All this green, 2 to 3 foot high, so 1 meter tall-ish or more plant. All of this is various huckleberry plants, not the little white flowers. Those are something else. Hopefully I'll remember to put what they are in. But the vast majority of this is huckleberries. And in the late midsummer to early fall, depending on what species it is, they put out these little berries, like pea-sized berries. And depending on the species, they'll either be a bright rose red or a cherry red, a blue color that almost look like a blueberry. Some people call them mountain blueberries, but they're all huckleberries. Or they'll come out with this like deep, vivid, grape-like purple. And I eat them like crack. I'll do nasty things for some huckleberries. I love them. They're pretty tart, but pretty juicy. And sometimes they can be sweet, but most of the time they're tart, especially if you pick them early. And man, when I say they're tart, yeah, they pucker up, baby. But goodness gracious, they are yummy. So yes, as you can see, the trail is over there. And when I came up it this morning, I realized that was a terrible decision, so I did not go up the trail. Lesser maintained trail, blowdowns. That's what you get to deal with. But everything's so nice and green. Green, green, green. Trees. You keep hearing me talk about Alaska yellow cedars. There's a bunch of them sitting here. The trees that looks like it's got the shaggy, stringy bark. I'll walk right up to one. This one right here with the shaggy, stringy bark, that's Alaska yellow cedar. How can you tell it's different from the western red cedar? Well, the Alaska yellow cedar grows at higher elevations. The red cedars usually don't grow above about 2,000 feet, and we're at 3,500 at least. And the bark is different. It's different kind of stringy, and the yellow cedars are this paler color, whereas the red cedars have a little more browny gold color to it. So go from like a plain gray to a brick gray-y. And then there's other things you can look at the needles and the boughs and such like that, but you can't see them from here. And both species grow near water. I think this is a hemlock. It looks like it's a hemlock. Hemlocks. The western hemlock is the state tree, which, I mean, I understand it's the one that grows most prolifically here in the western slopes of the Cascades and in the Olympics. It's what you log. It's what you get most of your board feet of lumber when you go logging here in the Pacific Northwest. But I think the Douglas fir or the western red cedar are both much more regal looking and cooler looking evergreen trees. So I would have went with one of those. In fact, look, mud, mud, mud. See, mud, 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 mud. So wet you got mud in mid-July, and that's deep mud too. I would have sunk into my ankles. But yeah, I would have went with the western red cedar or the Douglas fir, just because I think they're a lot prettier looking. I'm in fact going to get a western red cedar tattooed on the back of the entirety of one of my calves here eventually. That's how much I like that tree, but you know, that's just me. Pretty flower. Any other trees we can see here? No, we're too low in elevation for the spruces and the noble firs, and the Douglas firs aren't going to be really at this elevation. And think that's what it looks like it is. I mean, it's like 70% hemlocks right now, and a couple of cedars and a couple of other things. Very occasionally maybe there's a spruce tree or some other type of fir tree sprinkled in, but it's vast. Oh crap, I remember this one. How do I want to do this? I'm gonna go stand on this nub here and try to, but yeah, that's why it's our state tree, is because it's freaking everywhere until you get to a certain elevation. When we get a little lower, I don't know what this little white flower is. I looked it up one of the last times I was out here, but I don't remember. I'll put it in. When we get lower in elevation, you'll see salals, you'll see a whole bunch of other stuff, but I think pretty much it's a whole lot of hemis, a couple of yellow cedars, and very occasionally something else sprinkled in. But until we get back down to lower elevation, that's pretty much what it's going to be. And metric butt tons of huckleberry plants, because that's what they do, baby. And I believe our state berry is one of the species of huckleberry. I don't remember which. I don't know if it's the mountain huckleberry, mountain blueberry, or the Cascade blueberry, or whatever. It's one of them, but I don't remember which. And our state flower is the coast rhododendron, which, as its name suggests, grows out by the coast on the Olympics. It grows on both the west slope of the Olympics and the east slope of the Olympics. It's a lot easier to see on the east slope of the Olympics because that slope is drier. There's a whole lot less other stuff growing in the way. Our state bird is the oh no, the goldfinch. Is it the western goldfinch, or is it just called the goldfinch? I don't know. But it's gold and black, and I've seen it a couple times. I think I've got it a couple times on video, but I haven't seen it yet today. I don't think they come quite this high up in the mountains. And what else? I think our state fossil is the mammoth, maybe? I don't know. But lots and lots of greenery. And I guess I'll shut up for a bit. That's a big cedar. That's a big old cedar. That's probably a 500-year-old tree. And then this is all another cedar. Started over there, bigger one came down, the little one is still growing. Yeah, this is what, 15 feet of trail, 5 meters of trail, being covered up by one exploded out cedar tree. That's not even as big as they get. It's close, but it's not quite. Just go ahead and cruise. Pretty flowers. I need to know what these flowers is. I mean, I've seen a gajillion of them in the last couple of weeks of hikes. I really should have it in my head. It's on the tip of my tongue, but you know. Oh, here we go. Here's something that's not a huckleberry. As we come down in elevation a little more, salmonberry, purpley flower. When the berry first comes out, it'll be a like a bright gold. It looks kind of like a raspberry, but it's bright gold. Don't eat it while it's bright gold. It's like unbearably bitter. It's not ripe yet. When it turns I don't know why it's called a salmonberry when it doesn't turn anything near salmon. It gets really, really dark. Like, think of wine, a nice red wine, like a Merlot or something. How dark red that is, that's what it gets to be, that color eventually. When it's that color, eat it. It's still pretty bitter and tart, but it's a lot juicier and it's a lot tastier, and you can actually eat the suckers. They're really good, but I mean, they look like raspberries. They look like, well, raspberries are too soft. They look more like a blackberry, but they're that wine red color. They go from that gold color to that wine red color. Here's a red cedar, little one. Again, we're too high up in elevation for them to get very big. I believe these are some spruce trees, maybe. Don't quote me on it. Again, we're kind of too low in elevation and not wet enough for any of our species of spruce to really show up. When we start getting some higher elevation alpine hikes, like when we went up St. Helens last weekend, those were a lot of those. When we got to the top of the mountain there at 5,000 feet plus, those were all either noble spruce or noble firs or Engelmann spruce and the occasional white bark pine. Here we go. So here's another big Alaska yellow cedar. Now we can look at the needles. So the needles, they're a lot wispier. They're not nearly as dense. Maybe later I can find a red cedar and you'll see that these plates of needles on a red cedar is a lot denser. They're a lot thicker and they're a lot closer packed. And also the limbs, they have the signature cedar swoop, but the red cedars aren't so extreme. They're a bit fluffier because they don't have to deal with quite so much snow at their elevation. That's another large hemlock, I believe. I'm going to be really upset if that's not a hemlock and I'm just pulling it out my butt and have no idea what I'm saying. But I'm pretty dang sure that's a hemlock. Don't know what else it would be. There's nothing else out here in this forest that would be that numerous. Sun's trying to peek out. Bit of a moot point at this point. My shoes are wet still. My sockies are full of water. And I've already knocked all the water off this trailside brush, so I'm not getting much re-watering. But, I'll take it. I'm not gonna complain about the sun coming. Oh, wow. That is a massive, massive cedar tree. But you see how gray it is and how long the wisp is and how thick out they get, how this direction they get. So you got the face and then you come out from it with the individual stringers. If you're looking at a red cedar, it's a lot more, they get a lot wider, they're a lot shorter in their length of stringiness, and they don't stand out nearly so far, and they're a different color. But I mean, that's pretty much how you tell the difference between a red cedar and yellow cedar, is how the color of the bark and the type of stringiness it is. I'm sure there's a professional botanist way to describe the stringiness, but I studied rocks, not plants. I wanted to study plants, and then I realized botany in North America has pretty much been done. If I wanted to go do something as a botanist, I'd have to go yeet myself into Asia or Africa somewhere, possibly South America. But there's plenty of cool stuff to see here. Not saying that Africa and Asia wouldn't be cool to go see, but I mean, I've got all this to explore yet. Oh yeah, I can actually see the mountains over the other side of the river valley over there, and I can feel the sunshine. I wasn't able to do that this morning, and my sunglasses decided to take a yeet. If they could not do that, that'd be preferable. We'll continue. Actually, turn it off. I think we're done. Oh, actually, I know right down here we'll get a decent view of Dingford Creek, and it'll probably be the best view creek we get on the entire trail. After that, I'll turn it off till we get to Pumpkin Seed. Hope you enjoyed my nature notes, or my nature moment, or whatever the heck I want to call it. Green, 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 huckleberries and occasional roses. Yeah, that's all huckleberries. This entire ground cover is all huckleberries. Gotta jump over this. And here's Dingford Creek. This is the single best spot to see the creek on the entire trail. Obviously, when you go to Hester Lake, you have to cross the creek, so you get a good view of it there too. Yeah, Dingford Creek. Not quite, it's still boisterous, but not quite so big and crazy as it is down at the parking lot. Next stop. Oh, here's those cliffs I couldn't see this morning because of the fog. But next stop, Pumpkin Seed Falls. Remember that brush patch from the morning? Well, now let's walk it again in the sun. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Brushy, brushy, ooh la la. Devil's Club. Well, I kind of goofed, but kind of not. You know how I said the next stop was going to be Pumpkin Seed Falls? Well, it was. And I shot a long exposure there. I just didn't record on this before doing that. So I've already done it, da 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 da. But now we have passed Pumpkin Seed and we're on our steep descent down to the trailhead, this last mile and a half or so. Remember how foggy and mysterious and otherworldly and cool it was this morning? Well, now the sun's out. It's perfectly blue sky. Like I said, by the time you can get back into the main river valley, you can get back down into Seattle, it's going to be blue sky and warm. And well, I'm not even back. I mean, I'm on the edge of the main river valley. I got to drop down these switchbacks, this 1,000 feet of switchbacks for the next mile and a half or so. But we're back at the edge of the main river valley and it is almost completely clear. So I thought I'd give you a nice compare and contrast of this morning coming up in the cool and the fog and the drippage, and now this afternoon going down. Still muddy on the trail. The sun hasn't been out long enough to dry anything out, and that'll probably take a couple more days. But now in the sun and the warmth and the clarity, you can poke through the trees and look to the other side of the Middle Fork Snoqualmie River Valley. Now we're gonna go ahead and descent, and I've got, oh, there was a squirrel or somebody sitting right there. That's why I jumped, because I heard the rustlings. Wonder if they're still there or if they super duper pieced out Cub Scout. Who knows? But I took the long exposure on this GoPro, so it's 4K at 60 FPS instead of the GoPro 5, which is 4K at only 30 FPS and a much wider field of view. So I only got about 20% left battery on this, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say my goodbyes now and maybe let this run out, or at least let it run for a few minutes as I descend. So I guess let's do this. Thank you for joining me on today's adventure up the Dingford Creek Trail to Myrtle Lake. This morning's weather was nice and froggy, very unsummer-like. Unless you're in the Cascade Mountains, then you could get any weather at any time. Probably won't snow on you, but you can get cold, rainy, spring or fall-like weather any day of the year. But the high pressure system has rolled in. It's going to be nice and warm the next couple of days. Let's see here. Yeah, 11 miles. I started at about 9:15 this morning. It is 5:45 now. It's probably going to take me another half an hour or so to descend, so call it 9:15 to 6:15. What is that? 9 hours minus the 2 hours I sat at the lake, minus the half an hour for the pumpkin seed long exposure, and minus the 20 minutes for the little side creek long exposure. So call it minus 3 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So what is that? 6 hours, 6.5 hours to do 11 miles and 2,500 feet of elevation. So 5.5 miles and 2,500 feet elevation each way. That's not bad. The wet brush and the more rugged nature of the trail is really what slowed me down. But now I'm just kind of plodding along. So yeah, thanks for joining me on another adventure. Give a like and a comment in down below. It helps with the algorithms, as you know by now. I've told you enough times. If you haven't, if this is the first video you watched, thank you for joining me. I hope you liked it. Please tell me what you did or did not like about it. It really helps me out. I haven't got much comments yet. It's been doing this for a little over a year, and I get Nash's mom is pretty much the only one that consistently comments, so But anywho, if you liked it, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. Go check out social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more pictures. And yeah, I'll talk to you next time.
Am I planning anything this upcoming weekend? So the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of July. Yes, maybe. I'm attempting to take at least 2, if not 3 days off. One of those days I'll go out with Nash and maybe go up to Baker and go take a look at the trail that you take up to do the easiest climbing route of Baker, since work has conspired against me and I won't be able to get enough actual time off to probably climb Adams or Baker this year. Oh darn, sucks, upsetty, but hey, at least I got St. Helens in, and then I can better plan for Baker and Adams next year, I guess. So yeah, this next hike is probably going to be going up the I think it's called the Park Butte Trail up to the railroad grade up to Morovitz Meadow. That's the trail to the easiest route up Baker. So I think we're gonna go check that out, call it a little trial run, scouting run. And then after that, I really don't know. It's a pick and choose kind of deal. Oh, eventually, I should say this now, next month, the 24th through the 30th of August, Sabrina and I will be joining my parents in Yellowstone. If I haven't said that yet, I'm saying that now. So there'll be a whole metric butt ton of Yellowstone content coming in the next month plus. Internet service for like computers and stuff is pretty much non-existent in the park, so it's not like at the end of the day I can just download videos and yeet them off onto YouTube after each day. So it's going to be, they'll be getting posts every day, or I'll try to post every day on the social media pages, but all the YouTube videos are gonna have to wait till after I come home and I have an Ethernet hookup again. And then good golly gracious, it's gonna be video after video after video pretty much every day for foreseeable future after that, because I plan on taking video almost, if not every day we're there, of what we're doing. And we're doing lots of things. We're gonna wander around geyser basins, I'll shoot some of that. Gonna go fishing, gonna shoot some of that. Gonna go wildlife watching, gonna shoot some of that. Gonna go fishing, gonna shoot some of that. I'm gonna go herp-a-derp about and shoot some of that. So it's gonna be a lot of Yellowstone content, but that's a month from now. We still got hopefully a couple more adventures in the next 4 weeks between now and then. So yeah, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna let this run for another minute or two, and see you later. Ciao.